What is up, problem solvers? Got a kind of fun unboxing today. So real quick before we get into that, the Teflon Volt. The Teflon Volt. Absolutely love this thing, but it just didn't have enough flare, so used some Tester's model paint and modified it a little bit. We'll probably strip this off because I don't like how this green layer came out. I put 2 coatings on it and it just kind of pulled up, but I may strip that off and do a video showing how I did this. Anyway, okay, so today what do we get? Well, I was scrolling on eBay looking around and I saw a listing for a couple of knives. Didn't have anything listed as far as what models it was, but I immediately recognized one of them, and upon further inspection then realized I recognized all of them. So first box, what did we get? A little OG Nabalis box. And first thing I noticed was we've already got the Nabalis Canyon, but this is the Nabalis Canyon Live Blade. So comparison of the Live Blade and the Trainer Blade. I'm going to fondle them both more today, but I've already, just from looking at the two, noticed a bunch of stuff that's just little variances and slight differences. I believe this one is probably months or a year or so older than this other model, so it'd be interesting to see kind of what the difference is between the Trainer and the Live Blade. But yeah, super stoked about that. That was a good deal. So it came with that one. It came with the Nabalis Hydra. I absolutely love that color. This thing feels great in the hand. Nice false live blade on this one as well. These two are going to be a lot of fun. I was originally just trying to find something to get my brother-in-law and my nephew. Was originally looking at some Nabalis stuff. Decided, let me see if I can find anything used for a good price. Ended up coming across these. I'm going to give my brother-in-law my Trainer, and I'm going to keep the live blade. That way my nephew's not around anything too stabby in the beginning. But yeah, so super stoked. So those two came, and those were the two things that I basically recognized off the bat. I was like, wait, I had just been looking at the Hydra blades for a project I want to do. If you've seen this thing on the 5-headed Kraken, you know what I'm talking about. Was looking at the parts needed, realized when I saw this that it was the same blade. So immediately recognized that as Nabalis. I recognized the Canyon. But there were two others. Just set that off to the side. Yeah, that's definitely my mood right now. Alright, so we got the two Nabalis. I wasn't quite sure looking at the other two, and then I spotted one of these and quickly recognized that as an LDY Orion. Now, this was clearly a live blade at some point that someone has dulled, but, I mean, considering we do knife making and knife sharpening, putting an edge back on that is going to be super easy. I absolutely love this thing. It's funny, though, I had just ordered the Orion S beard comb from LDY like a day or two before this, and was not planning to buy anything else from LDY for a while, even though I was planning to get one of the 1.5s and maybe a Sirius eventually. Literally both on a watch list I was building for a bunch of... I want to just start looking at all these awesome budget knives in the, sub $200 range, sub $100 range, because there's so much awesome stuff that a lot of this wasn't available when I was previously flipping. Oh, Went through some old photos. Looks like 2016, 2017 was the last time I was kind of on a kick of buying and trying to flip Balisongs. At the time, I had a pretty crazy job, so life got busy. I got into collecting some other knives, and I promptly traded those off for other stuff and regretted it. So I'm super stoked to get back into this. We'll go up top and look at this more, but this thing is phenomenal. I have a feeling if this is any indication, I'm also going to absolutely love the comb trainer that's coming. We all know I love my comb Balisongs. All right, so already right there, those 3 knives are worth well over what I paid for this. So I already feel like I got a great deal. Pending I didn't get ripped off, but that looks too legit to be. I don't even know if they clone these, but I was a little concerned, especially when you see this next one. But all in all, this has been a pretty awesome haul. I think I just got lucky. Maybe the universe was looking out for me because I felt bad about selling off some of my other Balisongs. Who knows? So what we got is a second LDY, and this one is the Sirius. I think this is a V3. It's hard to know. I also don't know if this is an Orion version 1, 1.5. So if anybody knows, I'd be interested. I think this is a V3 because of the Zen pens. And I got the impression from the listing that the guy had this for a while. He just wasn't flipping anymore. This may have just been a great deal because somebody either was hunting another grail, needed some funds, or somebody got bored with flipping Balisongs. Y'all, comparison is the theft of joy. Do not compare where you're at to someone else. That's what discouraged me originally with Balisongs, because I saw these people so much better than me, and I knew like 5 or 6 tricks. Flip how you're comfortable flipping. If you have fun with it, then you develop at your own pace. I'm probably about to start a series where we will document me learning tricks, probably try a new trick maybe every other day, every 3 days. We'll record it. We'll start with basic openings. We'll run through. Probably what we're going to do is pick like a one of the squid playlists or big flips playlists on YouTube, and I'm basically going to do the tutorial and then film myself practicing it and talking about the things I'm struggling with or whatnot. We'll look at different Balisongs and how they affect learning different tricks. Look, I'm not going to be a tabletop review channel. I got other stuff to do. I got knives to go try and figure out building, but I still love talking about knives. I've been a collector of knives since I was a little kid. My dad got me into it. I absolutely love everything to do with knives. Balisongs, fixed blades, folders, you name it. So I thought this would be a fun kind of change. The Balisongs to me kind of satisfy the whole fidget factor, playing with stuff. But it also is just something tactile to do, so you're not just sitting there fidgeting. Anybody who's sat around flipping their knife open and closed, watching TV, flipping a Balisong is a way more enjoyable fidget factor. So if you haven't tried one, try one. And if you have, and you're good, encourage others. So that's what I got. Pretty awesome haul, if you ask me. Let's just say I paid less than $200 for all of this. And we'll just leave it at that. So, personally, as long as I didn't get ripped off with anything, I feel like this is a really good deal. And after looking a little further, I didn't see where anybody made knockoffs of the LDY stuff yet, minus the Cygnus. So, hoping we just got a great deal here, folks. That's about it. Guess we should go up top and take a quick look, huh? Alright, and we're back. Okay. Tried to film that before, did not go well. So what we've got is the two Nivalis that we just got. We've got the Nivalis Canyon false live blade, and we've got the Nivalis Hydra, also false live blade. These things are absolutely phenomenal. Ooh, nope. We won't try and do something like that all at the same time. Can we do double latch strap? Oop, screwed that up. Yeah, if I had to say, I mean, obviously the Hydra is significantly more expensive than the Canyon. My opinion on the Canyon still stands. This is a phenomenal entry-level option. If you like something a little more handle bias, a little heavier, these are great. I do think I like the way that feels a little more than the trainer blade, but full comparison of those two coming a little later. This thing is phenomenal, but now that they've introduced the Impulse 2, I think this is your new budget king, sub $50, no question. So False Live comes in at $50. I believe the Nivalis Canyon comes in at $40. And then versions of this come in between about $35 and $45, depending on what you get. I would recommend going with the $40 or $45 option, because my understanding is the $35, the silver and the black or the silver trainer and the black trainer, I believe, don't come with the additional tool and things like that. Whereas the Impulse 2, the faded ones or the colors, I believe they come with additional hardware. They come with the pivot tool, thread locker, lube. Definitely a better value. And they come in cool colors. So, phenomenal knife. I would still pick the Impulse 2 over the Canyon, but that's just a matter of preference. Maybe you like the aesthetics of the Canyon a little more. This is a phenomenal flipper. Flips great. I haven't had any issues doing tricks on this. This is a little heavier, so my hands get a little tired faster. The Impulse feels absolutely phenomenal in hand. It fans well, which I struggle with on a lot of things. Actually, I'll be honest, I fan this better than I fan my Volt, my Teflon Volt. So, highly recommend the Impulse. But that's not what we're here to talk about. False live blade on the Canyon. I just did that backwards. That would have sucked if that was sharp. So, as someone who works with their hands and makes knives, like, I can appreciate false live blades and trainers, because if my hands are all cut up, then I'm not able to work. So, doesn't mean I don't enjoy a good live blade. I probably will sharpen up one of these at some point. Not these Nivalis, but those LDYs that came. I believe those were sharp at one point. Somebody just dulled them down. So, okay. So, out of the two, the Hydra is significantly more costly. I believe these come in about $99. I believe these are 70-75 aluminum, heat-treated stainless, false live blade. I believe they have this. I believe this is the. Ooh, I might be lying to you. I think they call this one the Japanese Tonto or Tonto, and then I think they have a Bowie-style blade as well on these. Reached out to them about the blades on these. They said in about a month or two they would have more blades available, so I'm assuming that there's going to be more Hydras available too. These are a phenomenal flipper. I absolutely love that green color. These feel great in hand. This gets into that $100 range, so it's not quite entry level, but still, I mean, if you're talking sub $50, Impulse. If you're talking 75 or under, get a Volp, Teflon Volp, or a Thomas Refault. Can't go wrong with any of them. If you're talking $100 or less, the Nivalis Hydra is great. And then, you know, speaking of our other options here, you've got some great stuff from LDY. I believe the Sirius starts to break that $100 price point. I think these are more like $120 to $150-ish. depending on what version you got. And the Orion, and I don't know if this is the Orion V1. I believe this is the 1.5. I have the Orion S comb on the way. Couldn't resist. Y'all know I love a good valley comb, being a beard guy. Wanted something that I could use as a comb and a trainer. That's probably going to be my regular carry as I rotate out other stuff to flip and learn tricks on and kind of review. But I kind of want a staple piece that's just a regular flipper while I'm learning new tricks. Thinking about starting a series where instead of doing like tabletop reviews, and we'll just do, as we get new stuff, we'll try new tricks on them. As I learn, I would like to encourage other people who are getting into the hobby, maybe haven't, like myself, have flipped and done the same 6 or 7 tricks for the last decade. Maybe it's time to start learning some new tricks. So I'm going to watch some of these Squid Industries videos and some of the Big Flips videos. And I think what I'm going to do is I'll watch their video. I'm not going to come on here and try and do a tutorial, but what we'll do is we'll spend a few minutes, after I've understand the trick, we'll come in here and film me practicing said trick and kind of, what do I notice as a beginner? What do I struggle with? What things helped me? Which Balisongs work best for a beginner? What features do we like that maybe can translate to grow with you as you progress and learn more tricks? So I'm never going to claim to be an expert at this. Being a child of the 80s, grew up around Balisongs, absolutely love them. I love everything to do with knives in general. This satisfies a huge fidget factor. I for years sat around playing with folding knives and fidgeting and, flippers and whatever else. There is no better fidget option. So the fun part is you can learn new tricks, you can set goals, you can grow. It's a skill-based, let's be honest, it's a skill-based toy that originated as a tool. Now we treat them like toys. You can still have a live blade, and you can still do plenty of good work with it. I know tons of people who carry a Balisong for EDC purposes. I'm not the one that's going to go try and learn a new trick like an aerial on a live blade, because my luck, I'm going to slice myself open and be down getting stitches. So these are just fine having the edge dulled. I'm pretty sure whoever sold these to me just basically nuked the edges so they could sell them as false live blades. I'm not mad about it. Making knives and doing knife sharpening, this is easy. So, if I had to pick a favorite just off the cuff out of what came today, I think the Orion feels best in hand when flipping. I think aesthetically, I absolutely love the looks of the Sirius. I also like the way it sounds. But I absolutely love the color anodizing and the millwork on this one as well. So it's hard to say. They all feel great in hand. They're all smooth. They all have a good sound. Maybe it's because LDY is the new kid on the block to me. I've been flipping some Navalis stuff for a little while now. These are super intriguing to me. Obviously, the Hydra is not available at the current moment, but my understanding is it will be soon. Trying to decide. Hydra. I mean, aesthetically, if we're talking which one I like the looks of the most, the Sirius. The flippability, I think it's the Orion. This is a pretty close contender too. So if you got a chance at picking up a Hydra, I would really look at that as well. So I'll flip them all more, and maybe we'll do a comparison. I've been flipping the Teflon Volp a lot recently. I use some model paint to modify it. I think I showed you guys that in the beginning of the video. So when I'm flipping it, now I feel like I've got a little more visual cue. The all white I thought looked great, but I just was really getting kind of bored of the just white. So yeah, absolutely love how that turned out. Teflon Volp is a great option. Oh, Teflon Volp. Okay, so if we had to pick them from each manufacturer, right? Sub $50, I'm picking the Impulse 2 over the Canyon all day. Sub $100 or less, the Volp's already been on the table. You've got the Hydra and you've got the Orion. I've struggled a little bit with the Teflon Volp on a few things, but that's also just struggling learning new tricks. That has been a phenomenal Balisong to be learning on. So has the Impulse 2. So sub $50 Impulse, 75 or less, I would go with the Teflon Volp or the Cheese. Haven't flipped the Cheese yet, but several people say it flips better than this. So if it flips better than this, you know it's got to be phenomenal. $100 or less, I'm picking the Orion over the Hydra. Just the additional millwork in the handle, the way it feels. It's more rounded and chamfered on the corners, so that while this has a square kind of blocky feel to it, this is more kind of rounded. So yeah, I mean, I say that, let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's easier to know where you are in a tactile kind of way with those harder edges, but long-term feel in hand, I think the rounded off design of the Orion is probably going to be the ultimate winner. Now, if I had to compare the two LDY options, I love the Sirius. I love the way it looks. I like the way it feels in hand. But I could see what people mean about it's got some, it's what you would call hot spots, like you would in a folding knife, you know, when you hold it in some certain places. I don't necessarily think so much so, but I can see where a lot of people would. My hands are pretty beat up, pretty rough from, you know, labor and knife making and stuff, so the slightly less rounded, more cutouts, more angular pieces is probably going to be pretty noticeable to some people, but also you're going to have a lot of tactile grip and a lot of I feel like you're probably going to have really good control with how grippy the surfaces are on here. Like, I don't think this is going to not do what you want it to do. But just overall, like, out of everything I've flipped so far, I think I'm really glad I ordered that Orion S comb, because this is phenomenal. LDY, Nabalis, you can't go wrong with either of them. I've had stuff from Squid in the past. My understanding is they've only gotten better, and they were great back in 2016. So they've had a decade to improve. So I can highly recommend anything from Squid. I've heard really great things about the Thomas Refault. I've not checked one out, but it is on my short list. Also really want to check out one of these Volp 360s. Those things look like super fun. As someone who's always been fascinated with Balisongs and sort of martial weapons and knives, I think the Volp 360 or Funchuck style stuff would be a lot of fun. Thought about just making it myself because, you know, we have technology, but I got so many other projects I'm working on right now. We got a fixed blade project we're working on. Got some kitchen knives I'm working on. My hope is to start playing with some Balisong ideas. Yeah, so that's what's going on. That's the update. That's the new stuff that came. You can't go wrong with any of these. If you like steel Balisongs, you like something heavier, check out the can. But I highly recommend. I feel like everybody should have an Impulse 2. They're sub $50. If you know somebody that's interested in flipping, you give them this. You give them a good experience coming into it. You let them borrow it till they're able to get their own Balisong. They're really going to love learning to flip on one of these. So, highly recommend, even if you've got other stuff, if you don't have a good loaner to give out to a friend or family member that wants to try and learn a little bit about flipping, pick one of these up, even if just for that, even if you're never going to flip it. Guarantee once you get it in your hand, though, you're going to play with it. So I've had the Teflon Volp for a while, and while the Teflon Volp had the paint drying, I was playing with this for several days and absolutely fell in love with it. Been practicing some aerials. It works really well for those. Yeah, highly recommend. The Hydra, hopefully they'll make more of these because this is an absolutely phenomenal Balisong, especially for the price. I think for $100, you can't go wrong with that at all. The Sirius, I mean, just look at it. Thing looks sick, flips good, sounds good, cool color. It's a winner. Kind of jumps up a little in price above these. So if you had to pick one, still getting my vote on the Orion. So I think LDY came out the winner today, but honestly, Nabalis, you're still taking the lead in what we're flipping and enjoying the most these days. So can't go wrong with either. A lot of great companies out there, a lot of great companies I didn't mention. Right now, I'm just trying to play with some entry-level stuff, and then once we've kind of looked at a gamut of that and feel like my skills are at an appropriate level, we'll get back into nicer Balisongs. So that's about it. Hopefully you got something of value out of this. If not, hopefully you at least enjoyed looking at some cool knives. Y'all have a good one.